So good to be
As,
here.
yes, as we were, I would have loved for you to come on at 7:30, but yeah, I know you told me that that wasn't possible, so I had to fill that spot. But you're here, and we are so excited to have you here on the program tonight. And tonight you are going to talk about another kind of violence. It's same violence, but I consider it violence against the elderly, violence towards the elderly in this country. Over to you, Mr. Strickland. Welcome to the Marcia Week Show.
Thank you, Marcia, and good night to you and the loyal opposition. Um, what I want to speak about tonight, I don't think there's any few people who would expect it to be, as it were, violence attack on the elderly. Now, on Monday, there was the senior games. And I'm certain that when I say the senior games, there are a lot of you there who are laughing and so forth, and rightfully so, because I have been part of the senior games since I was age 50. I'm 68 now. And so I've seen a lot of changes for the better, changes for the worse during the years of the senior games. I want to go back to 2023 because I did not compete in 2024 because after what happened in 2023, I really was disheartened in that you're speaking about individuals like Kathy Harper Hall, Shirley Harper. You're talking about a lot of athletes who were part of these games, maybe from the inception, but many years ago. When we turned up at the senior games, because the senior games are now under new management, as it were, because for many years, Mr. Rawl Clark was the person who would have coordinated it. Over the last couple of years, it has been Mr. Michael Jules, and I'm not certain whether, but Mr. Matt Fingal.
Hmm.
So that in 2023, when we arrived for the games, there was no seating accommodation for the athletes. So we either had to stand during the entire day or sit or go into areas that were not designed for us.
Yes.
There were a number of things that I saw happening that year that, like for some of the other years where you had officials and this is not partisan. You have officials who, because even from when we were at the stadium, that they treated us as seniors as if, we were children. We did not matter. And it
Hmm.
is supposed to be the national senior games. What I saw this year was not the national senior games. This year was regathering games. It was
Hmm.
regathering games. I have competed in the 1, 2, 15, and even 3,000 in
Hmm.
previous years. I have competed in the 1,500 every year that I have attended through all of
Yeah.
those years. So it's a case where we as seniors, we train. Some people train all year round. And therefore, they see this, Mr. Victor Young, I would hope that tonight he will call in because, he was there on Monday, along with a great deal of senior athletes that were hurt, that were disappointed, but there were so many more that
Hmm.
we are used to having did not attend this year. In spite of what the minister and others would have said about the crowd, it was a dismal disappointment. It was a dismal disappointment. You want what I'm
Ah.
saying? But, and these are the facts. These are the things that happened at the games on Monday. I
Hmm.
registered for the 800 and for the 1,500, the 1 and the 2. There are age groups from age 40 to 40, well, 40 to 49. Then there's 50 to 54, and it goes all up in a 5-year age bracket.
Hmm.
And I got there, I was told that you are not registered for the 15 or the 8. When I inquired I was told there is no age group for the persons 65 years and over. Now, the last time I know, you have an ID card in Barbados and you are considered a senior, as it were, at age 65 when you can travel on public transport free of cost.
Mm-hmm.
But we were told, not just I was told, all of us who were 65 years and over, who had registered for the 800 and the 1500, we were never told anything. At that moment, we were told there is not an age category for you. And it was like, what? There is no age category for you.
Why
If
is
you
that?
want, because we were too old to run a 800, I guess. We were too old to run a 1500. The only explanation was that there's no age category for you, one. But this is, if you want to run, you can run. But you have to compete against the 60-year-olds. And the only way you will get a medal is if you came first, second, or third. So after training for weeks for some people, months for some people, we were forced to run in the 15 and the 8. Now, traditionally, the games would begin around 9:30.
Okay.
Okay?
But,
Traditionally,
but,
because
but before you go on, did you register for those before you got there?
yes, we registered, but
Oh,
because
so you
but there was no
registered and they didn't tell you at registration that you weren't eligible?
no, no,
I wonder.
Marcia.
I'm deliberately slowing you down so the people can understand. This is supposed to be encouraging a game. The game should be encouraging the elderly in the country. Mr. Strickland is saying he registered, and when he was ready to run on the day, they're telling him that they can't run. They can't be registered for that, although they were registered before. What continued?
Yes, Marcia. Now, as I said, the official start of the games would normally be around 9 o'clock. The official start of the games would include, as any sporting competition national, there will be the athlete's oath done by an individual. There will
Mm-hmm.
be the oath by the official's oath,
Yes.
and there would be prayers. And there will be prayers. There was the only um, thing that we observed was some line dancing. After the
Mm-hmm.
line dancing, then it started. Now you're looking now at those of us who are seniors. The 800 was the first race done. Now normally you would have the 1500,
Mm-hmm.
and for obvious reasons, you want to run the 1500, which is 3 3/4 laps around the track. You would want to have that done first. And traditionally, all of us would run together because there are those few persons who will be competing in 1500. But then they would divide according to age groups, and you would receive a medal accordingly.
Okay, to your age group, right? Mm-hmm.
Correct. But this is what happened. They started with the 800, not the 1500. And I remember, I can't tell you exactly the time the 800 women started, but I can say to you, the men's 800 was directly afterwards. When the race, just before the race commenced, I can't remember if the minister was sitting there, but I know that Mr. Ian Bourne, one of the journalists, was there. I turned him and asked him, what time is it? He said, it is 10:28. So you can think tomorrow or even today, what 10:30 would feel like to start to run 2 laps around the track. So we started the games with 800. Now, it meant that there were the other races that were being run and so forth.
So, Mr. Strickland, there are two questions. One, I have to ask you: Was it?
Sorry.
Did you pay? Did you pay to register?
No, no, Marcia. This is
You
a
don't pay to register.
no,
Secondly, you said that the games this year started. The first race started at 10:30, which was the
no,
800.
no. The 800 for men. The 800 for women could have started around say 10:15. Okay.
10:15. So
all these vehicles.
what usually happens? Give us in the years before, because the sun is very, very hot at that time. So what usually happens?
But it said the 1500 would have been run around say 9:30.
Mhm,
But Marcia, it's going to get so much worse. It's going to get so much worse as I go down. You want to say I'm
mhm,
saying? So to think of the 800, um, which is 2 laps around the stadium, and you're looking at persons who are in their 60s and so forth, because there was a heavy concentration on athletes between the age of 40 and 50. The games,
ah,
there was so much focus on the 40s, up 50s, and even 55. But
mhm,
from there on, no. So it was a situation where we we ran our races. For me, it was pretty poorly done in that I remember when the 100s were being run, and I ran the 100. You would normally have the older age groups running first. In other words, you would have the 70 and over um, women running, then the 70 and over men, and you would come right down to the 40-year-olds. At the starting line, there was not a tent at all for any of us to stand in any shade. But they did all of the women, so we were all taken down there. They took all of us down there. They ran all of the women from age 70 all the way down to 40. The individuals who were at the starting line, who would normally have a sheet to assign us to our lanes, they had nothing. So we had
mm,
to wait until the announcer announced our lane. Okay? And it's important for Barbadians to understand the how where the senior games have fallen. And we're talking
mhm,
about the national senior games where you have a lot of people. And remember, this was done on a bank holiday. It was not a Saturday or Sunday. Okay? Where individuals come out to support their parents and their grandparents, church members, a lot of people that come out to support people. This was absent, was very absent. So that the 100, we were there in the sun standing up as men until all the women had run. But this is where it really was awful. Now, for the 1500, which is 3 3/4 laps, I went to one of the officials and I said to them, Could you please put a table at the side of the track so that as you're going around, you could get refreshed? Anyone who knows about distance running, whether it's in New York, China, wherever across the world, you will normally have water stations. The official said to me, there is not going to be any water at the side of the track. If you want water, you will have to wait until the race is finished, and then you can get water at the finishing line. I mean, you've trained for so many years, but remember, what time of the day is it? The women are called on the track at 1:30. Now you're talking about the 800 was around 10:15, but the 1500 now is at 1:30. The women are taken on the track to start, but Matt Fingal is on the track also with children playing hula hoops. Those women stood on that track for about 10 minutes because the entire day I could hear senior athletes complaining and frustrated about all this happening. So they had to stand up for 10 minutes while he enjoyed himself on the track with children with hula hoops. There was a lady who, Marcia, you would have to be there to see it. Any person who can go and look at it. She took about almost 10, 15 minutes to run the race. She almost walked the race. And you could hear persons, I mean, quarreling, abusing this lady for her to come off the track. No, this is her day. Remember, this is the senior game. This is her
seniors,
day.
yes,
Okay,
yes.
her day. And therefore, when our race was called, I came on the track. Marcy, by the time I had done 1 3/4 laps, as I was coming around by the finishing line, Mr. Matt Fingal stood at the side of the track and asked me if I want to come off the track. In other words, the race is almost finished. You now have 2 more laps to go. You are, this is what I read. You are a hindrance to us. So when he said that to me,
Oh.
I said to him, I need some water. And I continued running. As I went around, there were spectators who were shouting at me, saying, you can do better than that. So I pointed and I asked them to come and join me. Marcia, when the race was finished, and I'm not exaggerating, I went to at the side of the track where a young man was there with a cooler with water and power aids in that cooler. And I asked him for a bottle. And all he said was no. I said to him, sir, can I have a bottle of water? I was given instructions. So you can imagine after running 3 3/4 laps, and this was now minutes to 2 o'clock. No, sorry, after 2 o'clock, because our race would have started about 2 o'clock. And we are talking about with the ministers got up and spoke about violence against the elderly. You are minister of people empowerment and elder affairs. What was dished out to us as seniors on Monday was an attack by the government of Barbados on us as seniors. And I believe that we, the seniors that were there, we are owed an apology. I have done a post which I'm going to send to the minister. I sent it to you already, and I told you not to send it to anyone. But I'm going to send it to the minister because I want the minister to have an opportunity to know the feelings of us as seniors at the National Senior Games. Now, you have a situation, Marcia, also where they tried something for years, and Barbadians would have heard it being advertised that they're dealing with parishes. Because remember, we are regathering. So they were dealing with parishes, and that they were looking to have relays. It was tried in the past, and it never materialized. One of the reasons why there was the poor attendance on Monday was because we have clubs in Barbados. We have clubs in Barbados such as Logistical Stars. It's a very, very old club. We have UAC, um, uh, UAC. You have BAMSAT. You have Freedom Striders. These are clubs that come to the senior games every year in their uniforms. They bring along their supporters. The rivalry around among the athletes. This year, none of BAMSA athletes were there in uniforms. And I dare say that there were many, many, many members of BAMSA who did not attend. I saw
Why
about
is that? Why do you think that is?
because okay, if we come as a club, we compete and support each other. Why are you dividing us into parishes?
Oh, I see.
I'm competing against a member of my club for the sake of regathering, and therefore they did not. I didn't go last year, so I don't know if some did not go. One of my former teachers, Shirley Harper. Shirley Harper is like the pocket rocket. But into the power, she is fast. For whatever reason, Shirley was not there this year. I mean, there are a lot of persons, I tell you, that were members of BAMSAT did not come. And there were those that were there said point blank. You want to see what I'm saying? Because we were not allowed, we were not, as it were, allowed to compete in our uniform. We were not coming to the senior games. And this has existed for many years, that you had BAMSAT, you've had Freedom Striders, you've had USC, you've had Logistical, we've had all of these clubs as senior athletes competing. But we've now incorporated individuals who, I don't know if they understand seniors. Yes, they understand fun. They understand athletics. But do they understand seniors? You would go to some of the officials who are like your grandchildren, and they're shouting at you. They're literally shouting at you. You
Oh
want
my
to say,
God.
okay? I
So
mean,
hold a
this is
minute. So hold a minute. So I wonder, are we hearing what Mr. Strickland is saying? He's saying basically the way that we see how the seniors are treated in society at their games where they're supposed to be celebrated, that same spirit where they are a bother. The elders are a bother. We don't want to see you. Hurry up and run the race. No water for you. They don't want you to ask. You know how the same spirit in which that young man beat up that elder on the ground, and we were all crying. It is that same spirit that they took to the senior games in preparing and planning and executing the senior games. That's what I'm hearing from you. Go ahead, Mr. Strickland.
because I felt I had to do this at this moment today, Wednesday, right after the senior games. Because in 2023, we experienced a lot of what happened this year. And I told individuals I was going to write a letter to the ministry. And along the way, I didn't do it this year because I believe I have one of those persons who have stood up for individuals, who have represented individuals, who've supported individuals for many, many years while
Yeah,
working. And therefore it's a passion that I've been involved with athletics from the time from in my 20s, not in competing to some extent, but supporting a primary school, St. Swithin's Primary School, which is defunct now for almost over 30 years. So I've been involved. I have been ignited by primary school sports for the last over 30 years, and I don't have any children there any longer. So I'm at sports meets every year. I ignited by assisting them with their sports day. So it's not that I don't understand how sports are organized. I don't understand what it is. I'm fully aware. You want to say I'm saying? And therefore you seek to just to say something. I mean, suggest, and the kind of responses that you get from them, it is really unfortunate, really, really unfortunate. I ask myself sometimes, are you speaking to your grandmother? Do you speak to your mother or your father in that manner? You want to say I'm saying? And therefore, at this time when we are seeing the kind of attacks on seniors, you want to say I'm saying? This is the government of Barbados who were, I believe, had to be explicit in this. They had to know, okay, that we who register for a race, you want to say I'm saying, and you decided that there was going to be no category for us. You had to know that, okay? We submitted our telephone numbers, we submitted our email addresses, no correspondence to tell us. So as we got there, there were those men I know who would compete in the scene in the 1500 and in the 800, and then you start the 800 at 8:15 or so, and then the 1500 at 1:30 in the blistering heat, and then you turn and tell us you can't get a bottle of water here. You need to go over on the tank and go to and the thing when you have to go up to the tank where there was a 50-gallon drum, Marcia. There was no water being offered to us after we finished at all. We had to either bring our own. We would have had to bring our own water, but there was a 50-gallon drum with a standpipe cork on it. I'm not exaggerating, Marcia. So you had to go to that tank. I did not see anyone go to that tank for the whole day. We were given one banana, one mandarin, and I think a granola bar. There were so many things that were offered to the seniors. I mean, we are the ones who have to build this country. And now in our golden years, money is voted for the senior games. Yes, money is voted for the senior games. Okay? I don't know where they spent, but I'm certain that there are those who people say how much money is being voted for the senior games. Okay? We were in parishes, Marcia. You can imagine that through the years, I have a number of senior games t-shirts. A number of senior games t-shirts. This year, you said you are competing in parishes, and there were no t-shirts that were offered to us. So you can always say, well, this person is from St. Lucie, this person is from St. James. So if we can have a relay, I can go and speak to the person that I see in a St. Lucie t-shirt or a St. James t-shirt, and we can organize ourselves in the relay team. There were no t-shirts offered. This is what the Senior Games has come down to. And any person who's listening, I would hope that they would confirm or deny what I said. And I think the time has come where we, the seniors, have a say in what happens at the Senior Games. Traditionally, again, Marcia, you would have a meeting before the Senior Games. So they would share with us any developments and so forth. We will be given our numbers before the Senior Games. You have to wait to get there in the morning to get your numbers. Is that what is happening?
This is ridiculous. Wow, this is ridiculous. Somebody asked if you had contact Marlene Rice Bowen from Bar.
Um, Marcia, I, 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 I honestly, I prefer someone else to contact her. Okay, I prefer that someone else contact her. I mean, I have spoken to her before and whatever else, but this has come down to a point where maybe there may be other persons that need to speak. No, there's another aspect of it, Marcia. We have the Trinidadians coming to compete. This year, there was an athlete from Brazil.
Yes, I
From
saw
Brazil.
that. Yeah.
Okay. He was 71 years of age. Marcia, he registered for the 800. Can you imagine that he was one like myself that came expecting to compete against 70-year-olds, but found himself competing against 60-year-olds, and he did not get a medal because he could not come first, second, or third.
Because
A
the age
Brazilian
difference, the age difference matters.
that's over 10 years of difference. But then we had two Trinidadians. They ran with me in the 200. Marcia, how excuse me for laughing, right? But I mean, this thing it hurts, honest, and it's so comical. You had two Trinidadians in the race in a t-shirt saying Trinidad and Tobago. In 2023, we had a number of athletes from Trinidad, a number of athletes, both male and female. Okay. There were only two that I saw this year. When their names were being called, Marcia, the names were called, and they said from Christchurch. I know because the airport is in Christchurch that they actually put Christchurch, or these two Trinidadians live in Barbados. But I'm not convinced that they live in Barbados. You want what I'm saying? Because they indicated about the Brazilian that he came from Brazil. But I think he was mentioned also from Christchurch. Because we have individuals who are running the Senior Games right now who do not really understand seniors. They may think they do, but they don't understand seniors. Because there's certain things that come with being a senior. We're not as strong. We may not be as mentally alert. There are things that, but we want to be included in our Senior Games, right? We don't want that the 40-year-olds who are being allowed to compete, because when it commenced, it was 50 and over. So they've extended, like Barb has extended from age 40. Yes, Barb is now, I think, from age 40. So they've extended the Senior Games from age 40. But what should we? What should we, as the seniors, 65 years and over? There's no age category for us. Even the 50 meters, I was made to understand that some persons, they were not included in the 50 meters. 50 meters is almost a walk in the park for some individuals. So, I really welcome the opportunity tonight to share on the Senior Games. As I said, I have already done a post. I've shared it with you. And my intent is that I can have it shared with the minister. If the minister is not interested, I will share it with the public of Barbados. Because I think the time has come where we need to stand up for ourselves. If there are those who are not standing up for us, I don't mind those who are talking. If some are not standing up for themselves, we need to stand up for ourselves.
My heart
Because I'm
so badly. It's hurting my heart, Mr. Strickland, because I have seen through this program over the last 2.5 years how much I've learned from the seniors in this country.
Mhm.
Mr. Strickland, and I. This is an aging population. We have an aging population, right? We
Very
have
much so.
more.
But
Isn't that so? When we look, I don't have the. If somebody could do the population breakdown for me tonight, guys, and just so as to put it up, we see what we have. We have in Africa, we have a more youthful population. Most of the population in Africa, they're about 20 in age 20 or thereabout. In Barbados in particularly, we have an aging population. And you're going to tell me that we've done an event to celebrate seniors, and we're carrying the same spirit that we see in all everywhere you go, at the QEH, wherever you go. Seniors are treated terribly. We all cry the crocodile tears. Let me get Mr. Adrian in here. We cry crocodile tears when the boy beat up the seniors. Good night, Mr. Adrian Hines. We
Good
we
night.
cry
Good night,
crocodile
Mr.
tears,
Strickland.
Adrian.
and I
We cry crocodile tears when the senior was beaten up on the street. We heard when the senior was raped on Sunday. Well, when we got the message, when it came to us, although a lot of us heard of it 2 weeks before and wondered if it was a rumor because they would not report it. But the senior was raped in this country. And we have an opportunity out of the bounty that we say we have, Adrian. We had such a bounty that we were giving away money. And you're going to tell me we could not try to pamper our seniors? We couldn't provide water for them to drink. We couldn't provide proper places for them to sit. We couldn't take care of the seniors. Is that where this country's at? I don't know if you were listening, Adrian. I just brought you in and threw you into this conversation. Were you listening? Good night,
Ye-
sir. Were you
I, mm,
listening?
good night, Marcia. Good night, Mr. Strickland. Good night to the loyal
and I
opposition. I no, I wasn't. I didn't hear the full life. I caught Mr. Strickland's at the end when he was talking about people, the organizers not knowing the seniors, but I didn't get the full length of some of the fallout at the last game. Are you saying that there was no seating, no water for the seniors at the game? Is that what
there
took
was
place?
there was no water. There was no bottled water.
Wow.
Provided for us. I mean, what's the cost of a thing? You had the Sani. This is the thing. You had the Sani that was there. The Sani sponsors, I think BISA and NAPSA, and
Mm,
there was a tent there, with the Sani, not with water. And I'm certain that if the Sani was approached, whoever else, that they would have provided water for the seniors. Okay,
that's
but
sad. It's so
but
sad.
Marcia,
Oh my God.
there was a report that came out just recently that Barbados has the second largest number of centenarians in the world.
Yeah.
Mm.
There was a lady that I think she competed in the 50 meters. She was 90 years of age. She was
Hmm.
there on Monday. Monday. You want to see what I'm saying? So, I mean, this thing just is a bit unfortunate. And
Yeah.
I think that if we're going to have persons coming back to the senior games to participate, there must be a concerted effort, maybe to change or those that are organizing it, or include the seniors, giving them a voice. Because it doesn't make sense calling us and then nothing is none of our ideas are taken. But you have representatives from clubs. You want to say, I'm not in a club, but I'm saying that there are those of us who, have a meaningful contribution that we can offer once given an opportunity. I mean, in real, in good time, so that as they
Hmm.
prepare for 2026, God willing, you want to say, I'm saying, we will not have a repeat of all of these things that happened in 2025 because it was awful.
You know,
But
I
go ahead. I'm sorry, Adrian.
no, yeah, you go ahead. I'm finished. I just sad that so was water on sale?
So that's what I wanted to say. What he was saying was this, that when they called them to run, they had them waiting, like, each group, sometimes they were waiting for 10 minutes in the
Hmm.
hot sun, and they
Hmm.
asked for water as they were waiting. They were
Mhm.
told no water for them until they're finished, right?
Okay.
Mr. Strickland can tell me if I'm wrong. When they
And this
got
Okay.
to the,
and this is the 1500. Because he would not. This is the 1500. This is 3 3/4 laps around the stadium.
Oh,
One
typical
thirty
Edge.
in the af- 1:30 in the afternoon and 2 o'clock respectively. Go ahead, Marcia.
right, and then now when they would have run all of this time, right? How
Mhm.
many laps around? They get to where they were to the finishing line, and they have there's no water there. You know how people would meet you with some water or
Yeah, yeah,
just being gracious. That happened
yeah.
at church. Even if you had a race athletics at a church function, there's at least that courtesy. My understanding from what I'm gathering from Mr. Strickland is that they had to go to walk now to go to another tent that had a pipe, like a thing that you, so
Oh
you
my
needed a
God.
It,
container.
it, it
So
was
you
a
not
it was a
nobody gonna run with
Marcia,
no container.
Hmm.
Marcia. It was a 50-gallon drum. You know the one that you ship stuff in. I think it was a 50-gallon drum, and there were no cups, so you had to You had to either have your own cup bottle, or you have to hold your hand and drink from the barrel. And this was and the distance between the finishing line, and this is not something Adrian that some person told me. I was the person that ran the 1500. I went to someone in under tent right by the finishing pole and asked for a bottle of water. I was told no, you have to go
What?
out and get your own water. This is not something that somebody told me. This is what I experienced on
Wow.
Monday myself. So yeah, the
Wow.
distance between the finishing now and that barrel could have been about mm, another 50 to 60 meters away, or
Mm,
no, almost 100 meters away from there. Think about it, almost 100 meters away from there, because it was out in the area where was the warm up area, not where
mm,
you're checking in. So you had to do a lot of zigzags between barricades to get to where that water would be. You
mm.
understand? So that was what was served up for us as seniors on Monday, the 10th of February of June 2025.
Not bad. Yeah.
But
I
Marcia,
don't know.
you
Marcia, I
know,
just want to share.
we're going
I
to
want to share
close
something.
this off because we have to move on to something
Yeah.
else. But
Okay.
you were saying somebody's asking how long the senior games been going on and if been operating and whether or not this was a different it's just a different organizer.
Okay. This year was the 21st anniversary of the games. Um, we talk about age 21. That you have arrived at age 21. This was the 21st anniversary of the games. It would have
Mm,
started with Hamilton Lashley and others.
mm,
Um, Mr. Roy Clark was the person who would have organized it, and the government helps to sponsor and support the athletes when they go to Utah to represent Barbados.
mhm,
There was a year that we won the second largest number of medals overseas.
mm,
Ah,
Anyone can correct me if I'm wrong, but from the time this government took over, they ceased supporting the senior athletes. They ceased supporting the senior athletes. Mr. Roy Clark has been replaced by Mr. Michael Jules and others. So these are the facts. In 2023, and this is what I want to share before I finish. In
mhm.
2023, I was near the official state at the where you finish, not where you check in. And Mr. Austin Seeley, that is the Austin Seeley Award at Carifta, was there.
Mhm.
He is um, visually impaired, and he was sitting on a wall. I would have thought that he would have been given a place of honor in the
Yes.
tank among the dignitaries and whatever else. You're speaking of some person who had to conceptualize the Carifta Games. And as a Barbadian, I saw that's why I was so angry last year. And I
mm.
felt I should have written something. Okay. And that's what I saw in 2023. So I did not compete in 2024 because I really was not, too excited about 2024. So I say, no, something, maybe things have changed in 2025. And I went back. But so Asian, we're gonna invite you down to
Uh,
compete.
to do it? I ain't got time. I gotta tell you this, man.
I know, I know,
I'll come
Adrian.
and
So,
watch.
so
I'll
Marcia,
I'll come and watch. Mm.
thank you for having me. I
Yeah.
will, I'll come back later if necessary, to answer any questions.